Surely you know about the deep bond that unites St. Francis and St. Anthony, Francis' beloved disciple. But perhaps you do not know that they are also united by an extraordinary event relating to bread. You will surely have heard of St. Anthony's bread, also called the bread of the poor, but perhaps you do not know that St. Francis also performed an extraordinary deed in relationship to bread, and precisely during the harsh winter of 1224. The story goes that a small friary near Montella in the Avellino area had become completely isolated due to an exceptional snowfall. The poor friar, stuck inside the building and cut off from the outside world, had been going without food for several days. Moreover, they were full of fear because a pack of howling wolves had surrounded the walls of the friary, preventing them from getting out. The poor Franciscan friars could feel the end of their lives approaching, but they were full of faith and continued to pray to the Lord, invoking His help. However, as we know, and the Bible itself confirms it, when poor people pray, God hears them and quickly answers their prayers. Therefore, the next morning, the salvation the friars had longed for finally arrived. They heard a knock at the door of the friary, but upon opening it, they saw no one except for a big sack full of warm, crusty bread. Curiously, the sack was decorated with golden lilies, the symbol of the French monarchy. Legend has it, in fact, that at that time St. Francis was at the court of the King of France, Louis VIII, and having learned by divine inspiration of the tragic situation of his brothers in Montella, he had begged the king for a big sack full of bread. Francis would then send the sack to the friary in a miraculous way. Fragments of that hemp sack have been preserved to the present day, and believe it or not, recent analysis using the carbon-14 method have confirmed that they actually date from between 1220 and 1295. Furthermore, additional chemical investigations have shown that the sack actually contained bread. Thanks to the Lord, St. Francis heard the pleas for help from his brothers, snowbound and besieged by wolves, and immediately sought the best way to help them. To us too, the Lord is constantly sending appeals to help the poor, the abandoned, the sick, and those fleeing war and hunger. He does this today through the internet, television, and newspapers, but unfortunately, we have become so used to hearing all these appeals that we are becoming indifferent to them. We think, it's none of my business, or there is nothing I can do about it. Today, St. Francis is reminding us that we are all sons and daughters of God, and that we are therefore precious brothers and sisters to each other, and also to nature and all of creation. And He recommends us to live our lives in goodness and solidarity, helping especially those most in need, because that is what one does when one loves. Thank you, St. Francis, for being a model and inspiration for all of us. Please help us to be people of solidarity and action, so moved by prayer, encounter, and understanding that peace can become a reality. Amen.